Hi, in this video clip I'll try to show you ways by which you can do well in IELTS. Now, what is IELTS? IELTS is an international exam that assesses all of your English skills, that is reading, writing, listening and speaking, and it is designed to reflect how you will use English at study, at work and at play in your new life abroad. Now let's move to the characteristics of IELTS. IELTS incorporates the following features: a variety of accents and writing styles that are presented in test materials in order to minimize linguistic bias. The test also determines your ability to listen, read, write and speak in English. The speaking module is a key component of IELTS. It is conducted in the form of a one-to-one interview with an examiner. The examiner assesses the candidate as he or she is speaking, but the speaking session is also recorded for monitoring as well as remarking in case of an appeal against the banding given, which I will explain in the next slide. Now, what about the test structure? All candidates take the same listening and speaking modules, while the reading and writing modules differ depending on whether the candidate is taking the academic or general training versions of the test. Now, let's briefly look at how the four skills are measured. We'll start with listening. Now, the module comprises 4 sections of increasing difficulty. It takes 40 minutes, 30 for testing, plus 10 for transferring the answers to an answer sheet. Each section, which can be either a monologue or dialogue, begins with a short introduction telling you about the situation and the speakers. Then the candidates have some time to look through the questions. The first 3 sections have a break in the middle, allowing candidates, or you if you are taking the test, to look at the remaining questions. Now, what about reading? In the academic module, the reading test comprises 3 sections with 3 texts, normally followed by 13 or 14 questions, for a total of 40 questions overall. The general test also has 3 sections. However, the texts are shorter, so there can be up to 5 texts to read. Writing is measured differently, of course. In the academic module, there are 2 tasks. In task 1, candidates describe a diagram, graph, process, or chart. And in task 2, they respond to an argument. In the general training module, there are also 2 tasks. In task 1, candidates write a letter or explain a situation. And in task 2, they write an essay. Now, we move to speaking. Now, the speaking test contains three sections. The first section takes the form of an interview during which candidates, those who are taking the test, may be asked about their hobbies, interests, reasons for taking IELTS exam, as well as other general topics such as clothing, free time, computers and the internet, or family. In the second section, candidates are given a topic card and then have 1 minute to prepare, after which they must speak about the given topic. The third section involves a discussion between the examiner and the candidate, generally on questions relating to the theme, which they have already spoken about in part 2. This last section is more abstract and is usually considered the most difficult. Now here at the bottom of the slide, I'm showing you the time given for each skill. Now listening takes up to 40 minutes, reading 60 minutes, writing 60 minutes, speaking between 11 to 15 minutes. Now the table in front of you shows you the band scale for the IELTS. The band scores are used for each language sub-skill, that is listening, reading, writing and speaking. The band scale ranges from 0, which means the candidate did not attempt the test, to 9. The candidate means that the candidate is an expert user of the language. IELTS is scored on a 9-band scale, with each band corresponding to a specific competence in English, and the overall band scores are reported to the nearest half band. Now, the 9 bands are described as, for example, if a candidate gets 9, it means that he is an expert user of the language, which shows that he has full operational command of the language, appropriate, accurate, and fluent with complete understanding. And if the candidate, for example, gets 6 out of 9, this means that he's a competent user of the language and that he has generally effective command of the language despite some inaccuracies. And if he gets 5 out of 9, it means that he has partial command of the language, coping with overall meaning in most situations, though is likely to make many mistakes, should be able to handle basic communication in his own field. And the lower the band gets, or the score gets, the least is the command of the language of the candidate. Now, how can you improve your IELTS scores? There are 3 golden rules for IELTS. Number 1, remember, it's a test of your English language ability. That is, the better your English language skills, the easier it will be to approach the test. Now, concentrating on IELTS books and IELTS practice tests alone is not the best way to prepare for the exam. This may sound obvious, but the emphasis should be on improving your language skills. not practicing the test itself. The test is a means to an end, not an end in itself. And the danger of only concentrating on the test is that you are not seeing the wood for the trees. That is, you may be lucky enough to pass the IELTS with the score you need, but you will not be adequately prepared for what comes after it. Of course, your job or your study at the university. There are 7 more things you can do to make you better prepared for IELTS. Number 1, use the language around you. 2, if you have the chance, join an English speaking club where you can practice your speaking regularly. 3, do one English activity every day. That is, for example, listen to the radio, watch a film, read a magazine or newspaper article. And you should have a conversation in English. Make it something that you are interested in and then enjoy it. 4, you need to volunteer to do something where you have to speak English. 5, join an online community. 6, practice little and often. Choose one activity at a time. For example, reading, and really concentrate on that during your daily practice. And 7, make sure you understand why things are wrong. Go over any mistakes and learn from them. If you have a lot of mistakes, then do the exercise again. Now, how can you increase your vocabulary? First of all, you need to get yourself a bilingual dictionary, and you need to translate. And here are the top 10 tips by which you can increase your vocabulary. Use a bilingual dictionary. Look up words you come across but don't understand and make a note of them, and even better, use them straight away. 2, choose one lexical set at a time. For example, animals. Can you handle one heart? Say that you know the English word for all the animals. Think of all those you don't know and look them up in your own language. Do the same for other lexical sets. Sign up to Gap Fillers Word of the Day. 4, play Scrabble. And you are allowed to use your dictionary in this sort of game. 5, read and translate. Choose a short passage in your own language and translate it into good English. And you can also use your dictionary here if you want. 6, use a thesaurus. Write down a list of words you like to use and look up 3 synonyms for each in this thesaurus. 7, do crosswords. Crosswords are very good for developing or for increasing your vocabulary, and use a dictionary to help you, or do interactive ones online. 8, listen to the radio and write down any words you don't know. Choose a short piece. You can approximate the spelling and then look them up in your dictionary. 9, choose a short, difficult reading passage and do the same. Make a list of the words and look them up in your dictionary. And 10, look around where you are now. Do you know the words for everything you can see? Make a note of the ones you don't in your own language and then use your dictionary to find out the English word. Do this whenever you have a few spare minutes. Now in this last slide, I've listed the sites that I have, or the sources that I have used to make this clip. And for more video lessons on English language, visit my site www.recyclingenglish.com.